little bit of a squirrel mixed in there as well, kind of something that a mad scientist may well have picked up in their own lab. But a lot of people do look at lemurs and their first thought are monkeys. Now there's quite a big difference between lemurs and monkeys. First of all is geography. Now lemurs are only found on the island of Madagascar and found nowhere else on the planet, whereas monkeys are found in quite a few places around the world. So remember what I said, guys, if they are coming up towards you, make sure to stand up, allow them all of their space all along the walkways. Remember, you are in their enclosure. After all, you may well be sitting in one of their favourite spots. So make sure you give them plenty of room to move about and hopefully give you some fantastic photo opportunities as well as. So like I said, monkeys you can find in quite a few places on the planet, but one place you will not find the monkeys is the island of Madagascar. So if you do arrive and go on a trip to Madagascar and you spot something that looks somewhat like a primate, you are guaranteed to know it is definitely a lemur. Now, other than that, of course, lemurs are very easy to tell apart with their lovely slender bodies, their really bright fishy tails as well. And if you enter a staring contest with our lemurs, you will notice those large, eerie staring eyes staring back at you, which has won them the nickname of Ghosts of the Forest out there on the island of Madagascar. As well as that, when they're going about and having a bit of food as well, what you'll notice is just like every other primate, they too have grasping hands. So just how you lean out and you get your food, they do the exact same motion, just with a much smaller hand themselves, of course. Now, lemurs are pretty unique. They're on Madagascar, let's just set the scene. Beautiful island off the coast of Africa. A lot of the animals and plants that you find on Madagascar, you will find nowhere else on the planet. And that's a magical word known as endemic. Whenever you hear that word, what that means is that that animal or that plant that you're looking at is only found in that one geographical area, making them incredibly unique to Madagascar. Now, of course, there are actually thought to be over 100 different species of lemur, and there's quite a variation in size. You've got the world's smallest primate, known as the mouse lemur. Now, all the males, actually just hold up your lovely pinky fingers, and you'll notice the average length of a pinky finger is about 6 centimetres. That is how long the body is of a mouse lemur. So an incredibly small little primate on its own. All the way through to the largest lemur, known as the Indri, coming in at just under a metre in height, so kind of the size of a chimp. But that is nothing compared to what used to roam the island of Madagascar, and that was a lemur that was whispered to grow to a size of a silverback gorilla. Now, sadly, you will no longer see this beautiful lemur species if you visited the island of Madagascar, and that's because a lot of the larger lemur species died out the moment one primate learned how to travel by sea, landed on the island of Madagascar, and began to chop down the trees. I am, of course, speaking about us as a species. Mass deforestation has led to great habitat loss, and sadly, that limited habitat was not enough to support those larger lemur species that we were talking about previously. But don't worry, we can still have times to make amends for past discretion. ZSL, the Zoological Society of London, is a conservation charity. We run conservation projects in 50 different countries worldwide. It's not just London Zoo, ZSL also runs Brixton Zoo and those other projects that I was mentioning. And by coming to the zoo today, the majority of your ticket sales get pumped directly into those projects. So a lot of the animals you've come along and you've had a look at today, you're actually helping us save their wild counterparts just by coming along and having a fantastic day here at London Zoo as well. So thank you for that. If you wanted to do one step further, whenever you are next shopping for any paper or wood products, that could be tissue paper, that could be printing paper, or even the boxes that you get your already pre-made sandwiches, have a look out for this fantastic logo that my lovely colleague Elska is holding up behind you. That is the FSC logo. It stands for the Forest Stewardship Council. Whenever you buy any product with that logo on it, you know you have done everything you possibly can as a consumer to help make sure that every single animal that calls the forest its home has a home in the future. And future generations can enjoy the animals that we had today on our planet far into the future as well. Now, of course, what we're going to do, we're going to look at some of these fantastic characteristics of our ring-tailed lemurs. Now, fin-tailed lemurs are perhaps the most popular species of lemur, thanks to a little tiny movie you probably heard of it, you know, Madagascar. King Julian, of course, that charismatic character himself. Funnily enough, Madagascar was 100% accurate. King Julian would have been Queen Julie, and that's because in ring-tailed lemur society, it's the females that are the ones that are most dominant and in charge. So if that was completely correct, we would be thinking of Queen Julie, not King Julian. Now, of course, they're really easy to tell apart. They've got these grey, fluffy bodies, and of course, those black and white, stripy tails. They're usually found in the semi-dry forest areas of Madagascar, found eating things like insects, flowers, shrubs, leaves, anything they can really get their hands on, really. So they're not very fussy eaters, which is fantastic for them. Now, when they're making their way through, let's go on to some of their lifestyle habits. You'll notice this lovely lemur above me, holding his tail up nice and high, all for everyone to show. Now just collapsing it down, which is lovely, thank you. You'll notice that many of our lemurs, when they are making their way through the enclosure, they hold their tail up really nice and high. And what they do, they use that as a flag. Out on Madagascar, a lot of them forest on the forest floor, and of course, not being that high themselves, it's easy to get lost or lose your other troop members. So by holding your tail up nice and high against that green vegetation, it means that all your lovely member troops can spot exactly where you are or where the troop is heading off to. Very similar to how a tour guide will hold up an umbrella in the busy streets of London to make sure they don't lose anyone on their tourist excursion. Now, lemurs, male lemurs, use their tails for one other thing. Male lemurs are able to produce on demand a very powerful, pungent odour that they use in a great behaviour known as stink bites. Now, stink bites are very important in male lemur culture. They'll get their scent glands and they'll rub their tails all over their scent glands, make sure that there's lots and lots of scent on them, and then they'll begin to wave and flick it at each other. And it's the male with the most pungent and the most powerful smell that wins that stink bite and is therefore the most dominant. Now, if one of our lemurs flicks their tails towards you, don't you worry, it's fine, you will not be able to smell it, because our noses aren't quite sensitive enough. Those lovely long wet noses of theirs may well indicate a far more sensitive sense of smell. Now, other than that, of course, our beautiful lemurs, probably not on a day like today, but one thing lemurs love to do that we're all guilty of doing for a week or two in summer is sunbathing. Our lovely lemurs, every single lemur, loves to sunbathe. They sit for hours on end in a meditation-like pose, pointing their tummy towards the sun because they're not so worried about an even tan. They just want to make sure that they get nice and warm as quickly as possible. And that's because on the nights out in Madagascar can dip to almost freezing point, so they try and make the most of the sun's rays whilst they can. So when they're not sunbathing, that's when they're out and about foraging. Now, of course, we live in England and we're not guaranteed sunny weather all the time, despite that lovely sunny spell that we had previously. So one thing you'll notice our beautiful lemurs doing is doing something known as a lemur ball, and it really is as cute as it sounds. All of our lovely member troops will huddle together back to back and just hold on to each other to keep each other very nice and warm. The most dominant male will be right in the centre of that lemur ball. Those that are least dominant on the outside. Don't feel too sorry for them though. They do have that inbuilt scarf in the form of their lovely bushy tail that they'll wrap around themselves, keep themselves nice and huddled and warm, even on the coldest of days as well. Now, just to introduce you to our troop here, we've got a troop of all males, so it's a bachelor group of lemurs that we have here at the zoo. That's actually pretty common, even out in the wild. Whenever males reach a certain maturity, they either leave or they're kicked out of the family group that they're born into. And so they do form these bachelor groups in the wild. So even in an all-male group, there's still a strict level of hierarchy at the moment. Al is clearly making the most pungent smell, and he is the most dominant male out of all the others here that you have in our beautiful walkthrough. But if you want to try and spot another lovely lemur, there's one called Spike, really easy to tell apart because he's got a beautiful lovely tuft of fur on the top of his head, and another one called Shorttail. Now you can only imagine you guys know why we called them Shorttail. That's because he has a very, very short tail, so it's very easy to tell apart as well. Should you have any questions about our beautiful lemurs or any of the conservation work that ZSL does outside of London and even in the UK as well, please feel free to come and ask either myself or my brilliant colleagues as well in this enclosure. We do hope you have a fantastic day. There is a lemur on the floor, watch your feet. and plenty of space. There we go. Excellent. Okay. So hopefully we do make you enjoy the rest of this lovely enclosure, and just keep in mind, give them plenty of space, because then that's the best way to get the best camera spaces really as well. So thank you very much for joining us, and have a fantastic day here at ZSL London Zoo. Thank you.